公司要求其加班完成这个出厂检验任务的情况下，他拒绝加班。企业呢可以通过安排劳动者调休等方式要求劳动者来进行加班。这4种情况下，这个劳动者是不可以拒绝加班。
还是比较齐心啊。
你们这车为什么不装车牌啊？为什么不装车牌？
年检等于是电车有年检车牌卸下来了。
年检没有车牌能上路开吗？
你是哪部门的？
我不是我老百姓啊。
这是我们领导安排的，就不是我们私下来的。
你们什么单位的？
啊？
你们什么单位的？
无可奉告。是哪个时间？是？
我是老百姓普通市民。
那我无可奉告。
啊，无可奉告是吧？
司机插队。
有咩名啊？叫咩名啊？ 問你做咩事啊？咩事？關好名，好影。名啊！名。
UC4376。
兄弟们注意啊！你看就是这几个，那1、2、3，又一个美团被抓。你妈的，出事谁负？
Another big political name has tested positive for the virus. Russian Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin has the virus, becoming the highest-ranking Russian official to have contracted COVID-19. With that, Russia now has over 100,000 cases after adding over 7,000 new cases in a single day. Japan is gearing up to extend its coronavirus emergency for another month from its original end date of May 6th. Japan has so far confirmed around 15,000 new cases, and its death toll fast approaching 500.
Reports out of China tell us their authorities are still investigating the virus, but have not invited international cooperation of any kind. Our own Prime Minister has dismissed China's claim, echoed by Twiggy Forrest yesterday, that the initial infection might have come from outside China.
We know it started in China. We know it started in Wuhan. The investigation that needs to take place really does need to understand what happened. Where did it start? What could have been done to, and so we can learn if something similar would happen in any part of the world.
Whether through a front-page article or parachuting Chinese diplomats into government press conferences, Kerry Stokes and Andrew Forrest are making their feelings about appeasing China's anger well known. Billionaire miner Twiggy denies blindsiding Health Minister Greg Hunt by inviting a Chinese consul general to speak alongside him. Mr. Stokes used his own newspaper to warn that poking our biggest provider of income in the eye could have catastrophic consequences for our economy. The WA Premier confident the influential businessmen aren't putting money ahead of wider Australian interests.
I mean, cool heads in a crisis. Don't cut off your nose to spite your face. Make sure that we have good trading relationships and they...
Well, they could have done it, and I'm just saying, well, one of two things happened. They either didn't do it and, they couldn't do it from a competent standpoint, or they let it spread. And... I would say probably it got out of control. But, there's another case that how come they stopped all the planes and all of the traffic from going into China, but they didn't stop the planes and the traffic from coming into the United States and from coming into all over Europe.
Have you seen anything at this point that gives you a high degree of confidence that the Wuhan Institute of Virology was the origin of this virus?
Yes, I have. And I think that the World Health Organization should be ashamed of themselves because they're like the public relations agency for China.
Do you think that withholding information about the virus is related to them trying to undermine your re-election?
I don't want to put any cast any dispersions. I just will tell you that China would like to see sleepy Joe Biden. They would take this country for a ride like you've never seen before.
Let's talk a little bit more about that, actually, because this has kind of gone into overdrive, it seems, since all this happened.
The Chinese Communist Party has a saying when it comes to their warfare, psychological warfare operations, and other forms of subversion: strangle you with your own systems. In other words, observing how different countries operate, what is controversial within their systems, how does their system function, how can we use those systems to twist things around, to cause chaos, to mess things up, to use it against them. You say you believe in free speech? We'll have protests in your own backyard calling you out. You say you believe in free press? Well, we'll start up state-run media in your country, and we'll use those state-run media to lie to your population, to spread our propaganda. That's what they do. You believe in free markets? How about we bring state-run companies that can sell below cost and put your companies out of business and take over your industries? That's what they're doing, right? Strangle you with your own systems. And what is controversial in the United States? What is most controversial? Racism. This race narrative, they know they can use it. They've been doing it for a very long time. There are different groups, for example, Committee of 100 in the US, where every time a Chinese spy is arrested, they call it racism, because they know it's what we're sensitive to. The Chinese military has a doctrine on this, the three warfares doctrine: psychological warfare, media warfare, and legal warfare. This is publicly adopted into their military doctrine. This is part of their military system. Now, what are these? Psychological warfare is not necessarily lying to you. Psychological warfare is altering how you interpret information. And so when you see a virus coming out of China, and people say this virus came out of China, if you call it the Chinese virus, they want to use this and twist it around and say it is racist if you talk about the origin of this virus. What is media warfare? Media warfare is the manipulation or control of outlets of information, not just news outlets, but say social media, online platforms, the ability to speak openly. Anything that would allow people to communicate would be a target of media warfare. And what is legal warfare? Legal warfare is a manipulation of international legal systems. The Chinese Communist Party, for them, this is adopted into their military code. This is war fighting to them.
Okay, we're now honored to have the author of China RX, Rosemary Gibson, on to join us on the Unrestricted Warfare Special. Rosemary, the question we have for you: has the Chinese Communist Party now taken something as basic as active pharmaceutical ingredients and basic chemicals for medicine and generic drugs? Have they weaponized these now into an instrument of war?
Steve, great to be with you. Yes. It just came off the press right now that NBC News is reporting that British doctors are saying that ventilators sold to them from China are actually killing people. So yes, basic things like medical supplies and certainly drugs, we know that from the rocket fuel compounds and medicines given to the military. But yes, China is using everything as a weapon. This is unrestricted warfare. Anything goes.
大家你们看到了啊，南华早报登出川普总统严肃认真的说法了吧？共产党这个寄希望于他输掉2020大选，这毋庸置疑的。那肯定是共产党就让他输掉大选，对不对？就是要让他把他干掉，他越来越意识到这个问题了。怎么办？川普总统，所以说，亲爱的兄弟姐妹们，这个报道不要小看啊！川普总统从要求追责到这件事儿，你不要小看啊，有意思啊，有意思啊！往前看，大家注意到美国 CNBC 在共产党的事上他是从来不说话的啊，跟 CNN 一样。但是你发现了吗？说话了吧？共产党要负责任。 美国反应慢啊，但是一旦上来这火很难灭。这个就像被压抑在一个高山下的火山一样，美国人一旦把它嘣给它被引爆了，无人再把它停止。这就是美国的政治和军事和国家行动，永远要记得，任何人，包括美国本身，一旦是这个民心民怨啊，啪一下子采出行动了，就像火山爆发一样，谁都无法停止。包括美国的本身它也无法改变。